Hello and welcome. Today we journey to the heart of Europe, to a region shaped by conflict and ambition, the Baltic Sea. In the mid-17th century, this region became a battleground in a brutal conflict known as the First Northern War. From 1655 to 1660, the great powers of the north clashed in a struggle for dominance. The very future of the Baltic hung in the balance. This war, my friends, was a clash of titans. The mighty Swedish Empire, led by the ambitious King Charles IX Gustav, sought to expand its territory and influence. Standing in its way was the vast Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, a state grappling with internal divisions. But this was not just a two-sided conflict. Other powers, eager to seize their own advantage, were drawn into the fray: Brandenburg Prussia, Denmark, Norway, and Russia. The First Northern War was a complex and brutal conflict. It left a permanent mark on the Baltic region, redrawing maps and shaping destinies. Join me now as we delve into the heart of this conflict, exploring the motivations of its key players, the drama of its battles, and the enduring consequences of its outcome. The First Northern War was not just a series of battles, but a complex web of alliances and betrayals. Diplomacy played a crucial role, with treaties being signed and broken as quickly as they were made. Leaders had to navigate a treacherous political landscape, balancing ambition with survival. Espionage and intelligence were key, as each side sought to outmaneuver the other. The human cost of the war was immense, with countless lives lost and communities torn apart. Yet, in the aftermath, there was also resilience and rebuilding, as people sought to heal and move forward. Today, the legacy of the First Northern War can still be seen in the Baltic region, in its borders, its cultures, and its memories. As we explore this turbulent chapter of history, we gain a deeper understanding of the forces that shaped our world. So let us set sail on this journey through time and uncover the stories of courage, ambition, and survival that define the Baltic maelstrom. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more episodes as we continue to explore the fascinating history of our world. Before the storm, let's meet our protagonists. In the east, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, a sprawling realm of diverse cultures and languages, stood as a major power. This vast and influential state was a unique political entity, a dual monarchy that combined the Kingdom of Poland and the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. It was a melting pot of ethnicities, religions, and traditions, creating a rich tapestry of cultural diversity. Its vast territories stretched from the Baltic Sea in the north to the Black Sea in the south. This immense expanse of land included fertile plains, dense forests, and bustling cities, making it a significant player in European politics and trade. This was a nation of proud warriors, famed for its winged hussars and military prowess. The winged hussars, with their distinctive feathered armor, were legendary for their bravery and effectiveness in battle, often turning the tide of conflicts with their fierce charges. However, beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to show. The Commonwealth's political system, known as the Golden Liberty, granted significant power to the nobility, but this often led to internal strife and inefficiency. Internal divisions and a cumbersome political system hampered the Commonwealth's ability to react swiftly to external threats. The liberum veto, which allowed any noble to dissolve the parliament, often paralyzed decision-making processes. The nobility, powerful and often at odds with the monarchy, held sway over vast estates. These magnates wielded immense influence, sometimes prioritizing their own interests over the common good. This internal friction would prove to be a critical weakness in the coming conflict. The inability to present a united front would leave the Commonwealth vulnerable to external aggressors.
To the north lay Sweden, a rising power with a martial tradition. Sweden's military was well organized and disciplined, with a reputation for innovation and effectiveness on the battlefield, and a thirst for expansion. The Swedish Empire sought to extend its influence and control over the Baltic region, driven by both economic and strategic motivations. Under my rule, Sweden had emerged from the 30 Years' War as a force to be reckoned with. The war had honed our military skills and expanded our territories, setting the stage for further ambitions. Ambitious and driven, I saw an opportunity to cement Sweden's dominance in the Baltic. The fractured state of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth presented a tempting target for conquest. The sprawling and somewhat fractured Commonwealth was an obstacle to my ambitions, ripe for conquest. With its internal divisions and political weaknesses, it seemed vulnerable to a well-coordinated and determined military campaign.
The year is 1655. The flames of war, already smouldering, are fanned into a raging inferno. The spark, the Swedish invasion of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Charles Gustav, sensing an opportunity, launched a lightning strike into the heart of the Commonwealth. His armies, well-equipped and disciplined, struck with devastating speed and efficiency. What followed was a catastrophe for the Commonwealth, a period of unimaginable hardship that became known as the Deluge. Swedish forces, aided by their allies in Transylvania and Brandenburg, Prussia, swept through the Polish countryside. They met with surprisingly little resistance at first. The Commonwealth, hampered by internal strife and slow to mobilize its forces, seemed to crumble before the Swedish onslaught.
The fall of Warsaw, the Commonwealth's capital, sent shockwaves throughout Europe. The once mighty city, a center of culture and learning, fell to the invaders. Krakow, the ancient capital, soon followed. The Commonwealth's rapid collapse shocked many. It served as a stark warning about the dangers of internal division and complacency in the face of a determined enemy.
Section 4: Fire and Fury, Key Battles and the Struggle for Survival. Despite the catastrophic early defeats, the spirit of resistance within the Commonwealth was far from extinguished. The initial onslaught by the Swedish forces had left many in despair, but the heart of the Commonwealth beat strong, fueled by a fierce determination to reclaim their land and sovereignty. As the deluge raged, pockets of resistance emerged, determined to repel the invaders. These groups, often composed of local militias and remnants of the regular army, banded together in a desperate bid to turn the tide of war.
One such flashpoint was the Battle of Ushi, a hard-fought encounter that showcased the tenacity of the Polish forces. This battle was not just a clash of armies, but a symbol of the unyielding spirit of the Commonwealth. At Ushi, a combined Polish-Lithuanian army, though outnumbered, clashed fiercely with the Swedish invaders. The soldiers, driven by a deep sense of duty and patriotism, fought with everything they had. The battle raged for hours, a bloody back-and-forth struggle. The air was thick with the sounds of clashing steel and the cries of the wounded, a testament to the ferocity of the conflict.
While the outcome was ultimately a tactical victory for the Swedes, Ushi demonstrated the Commonwealth's capacity for resistance. The battle, though lost, was a rallying cry for the people, a reminder that their fight was far from over. It proved that Charles Gustav's forces were not invincible. The Swedish king, despite his initial successes, now faced a determined and resilient foe. Other acts of resistance, both large and small, flared up across the Commonwealth. These skirmishes, though often overlooked in the grand narrative of the war, played a crucial role in wearing down the invaders. Guerrilla units operating in the vast forests and swamps harassed Swedish supply lines and ambushed isolated patrols. Their knowledge of the local terrain gave them a significant advantage, allowing them to strike swiftly and disappear into the wilderness.
The courage and determination of these resistance fighters provided a glimmer of hope during a dark time. Their actions, though small in scale, had a profound impact on the morale of the Commonwealth's people. It showed that the spirit of the Commonwealth, though battered, was far from broken. The resilience and bravery of these fighters became a beacon of hope, inspiring others to join the struggle and continue the fight for freedom and survival.
Section 5: A Shifting Tide, Alliances and New Threats in the Baltic. As the war raged on, the web of alliances and rivalries that characterized European politics began to shift. The Commonwealth, desperate to stave off defeat, found an unlikely ally in the Habsburg Emperor Ferdinand III. The Habsburgs, wary of growing Swedish power, saw an opportunity to check their ambitions, but the Commonwealth's troubles were far from over.
New threats emerged, eager to seize their own advantage in the chaos. Denmark-Norway, sensing an opportunity to reclaim lost territories, declared war on Sweden.
From the east, Tsar Alexis I of Russia, sensing weakness in the Commonwealth, launched his own invasion. The deluge had become a multi-sided conflict.
These new threats added further complexity to an already chaotic situation. The Commonwealth, already fighting for its survival against the Swedes, now faced enemies on multiple fronts. The war in the Baltic had become a struggle for survival, a desperate scramble for power and influence. Section 6. Turning the tide, from Königsberg to the walls of Gdansk. The tide of war, ever fickle, began to turn. The Treaty of Königsberg, signed in 1656, marked a significant shift in the conflict.
Frederick William, the ambitious ruler of Brandenburg, Prussia, switched sides, allying with the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in exchange for greater autonomy within the Commonwealth. This newfound alliance proved crucial.
With Brandenburg Prussian support, the Commonwealth began to push back against the Swedish invaders. The tide reached a turning point with the siege of Gdansk, a strategically vital port city on the Baltic coast. Swedish forces, under siege by a combined Polish, Lithuanian and Brandenburg Prussian army, faced a determined defense.
The siege of Gdansk was a grueling affair. Both sides fought with tenacity, but the defenders held firm. The city's successful resistance proved to be a major blow to Swedish ambitions.
It marked a turning point in the war, demonstrating that Charles X. Gustav's dreams of a swift and decisive victory were slipping away. The deluge was far from over.